you doing? This is Dorian, and I'm doing a quick video today on what I believe is one of the most important things to consider for being a successful business. Now, I've done a lot of studies and I read a tremendous amount, and one thing that I've noticed that is in common across all the successful businesses is that they've learned to take what failure gives them, use the data and persevere and carry on until they become successful. And I've also realized that the businesses that truly fail are those that give up and take failure as their end ultimatum, when it doesn't have to be that way. See, when you take failure and when you take the data from it, put that into new systems and processes and repeat that cycle over and over, what you end up doing is reducing your margin of error and increasing the likelihood of that breakthrough successful moment that you've been waiting for. And there are two very important things to consider. The first thing is that without failure, we cannot be given the data that we need to put that into systems and processes and to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And number two is to remember that data is more important than the narrative. However, it's common and been proved across many different studies that the majority of people go towards the narrative instead of the data. However, it's the data that we really need, because that's telling us what we need to change and do to actually materialize what it is we're trying to do. I'll give you an example of what narrative is. So you can build 10 apartments over 12 months and make £250,000 profit, and you don't have to use any of your money, you can use someone else's. Now, me and you both know that that sounds very attractive, and that is the narrative. And that really, as you can probably see now, is why the majority of people get attracted to the narrative rather than the data. But the data would actually be looking at many different things. It would be taking that narrative but really breaking it down and saying, why is 10 apartments for this site perfect? Why is the profit going to be this? What are the costs associated, really broken down? And where are the assumptions in those costs come from? What is the sale price and how is that being backed up? How is that being proven? What's the overall risk profile of this? We say we're not going to use our money but someone else's. What's the risk when they put their money in that they're going to lose it? And what are we going to be doing to mitigate those risks? Really, as you can see, the data is painting an overall picture, a real detailed picture, so that you can know, and to the best of your ability, you can know exactly what's going to happen and who you're going to be using, how much things are going to cost, what your contingency levels are, what your time frame is going to be, your build program, and where the potential overruns are going to be, using data from your previous projects or other people's projects if you don't have any yourself. And hopefully you can see that the data is really valuable here, because if you do everything is correct in your model, that everything you try to highlight and outline, the money side of things is just a byproduct of delivering all of that data in the correct process / way that you normally do it. But the moral of the story is this: if you just chase narrative, you will very easily miss information, which will lead to failures. Whereas if you chase data, what you're effectively doing is you're reducing the risk that you've missed something, and you're increasing the likelihood that your project will actually materialize and you will have a favorable outcome. And I just want to give you one example as to what using information like this actually does for you over time. Did you know that Dyson wasn't actually the first one to think of the cyclone hoover, the cyclone vacuum hoover? In fact, he was not even the second to the line when it came to filing his patent. But what Dyson actually did was he was the only one willing to test, stress and reanalyze his prototype and go through 5,126 prototype failures. And he was using all of the data from these prototypes, and he was storing it and he was using it and he was building on it every single time. He was rechanging his systems, he was implementing all of the changes in his notes from those 5,000 plus failed prototypes, and he finally got the successful breakthrough on 5,127, which is the double cyclone vacuum hoover that we see today. You see that Dyson, he wasn't afraid of the failures. He was actually using it to his advantage, because he realized the more times he could fail and figure out the reasons why it won't work, it will reduce the amount of options available to show him how it will work. And I'm also going to give you this one as well, because you might know it, with Pixar Animation Studios. One of the head directors at Pixar, for the film directors, said we are going to screw up. We know that. Our aim is to screw up as fast as we can so we can get to the end result quicker. As you can see there, he wasn't trying to shy away from failure. In fact, what he was saying is that it is an integral part of the process. You're going to have some blips, you're going to have some failures. It's the data that it's giving you, it's really important, because that will help you build a real successful business going forward. So to summarize, focus on data, build reliable systems, build reliable processes. Don't be afraid of failing. Failure is a necessity of the process. And then number 6, persevere. If you do all of those things and then really embrace it, what you're going to end up be doing is the failures you're going to be taking, they're going to be much smaller ones, but the information they're going to give you is really going to help compound your business to be really strong, robust and successful. So I hope that helps, and yeah, best of luck. Let me know how you get on. Leave a comment below and reach out if you feel I can help you in any way.